Hey everybody. Yeah, I was planning to do this last night. Never got the chance to do that because I fell asleep, I was tired, and I had a bit of a migraine or a headache or something. I also didn't have any of this to help out. But yeah, I wanted to talk about something. And you can see it right there. It's basically Ninja Turtle talk. And I've done some TMNT discussions about characters like April and Mona Lisa and stuff like that. But I want to discuss here overall what's going on with the Turtles franchise, not just this year and and recently with the finale of the season finale of the new series. I also want to talk about what's upcoming next year, and that's the movie, along with the new season, which should be debuting next year as well, and the season that follows that. As well as the fact that we have a video game based on the new series coming out this October, and we also have a video game, an on-demand video game, well not on-demand, but an arcade game, if you will, an Xbox Live, PS3, Wii U arcade game that you can download, coming to those consoles that I mentioned, called Out of the Shadows. Now, Out of the Shadows basically, I think, gives us an idea of what we may be seeing in the movie, of what the Turtles may look like in the movie. Maybe, maybe not. But giving us an idea of it. Now, somebody said, according to my niece and some other people I've talked to, somebody leaked something online, and I checked this out, and it looked like it could be a leaked teaser trailer of what the Turtles may look like, because it looked very real, very professional, but we're not sure yet. Now, we've seen the pictures, we've seen all the pictures and stuff from the upcoming film and all that. That's good to see exactly what's being done, to see how the Turtles are going to be brought to life and who the people are going to be portraying who and all that. True, there's going to be some subtle changes to the characters, to certain characters that, people may or may not like, but, they're doing what they can. Basically, they're giving you a rebooted Turtles franchise that's, to me, when I look at this movie, whether you like the choices of who's going to play April, who's going to play Byrne or Bernadette, if you will, who's going to play Vern, who's going to play Shredder and Splinter and all that, despite how you feel about all of that, despite how you feel about all of that, this actually is a revamped reboot of what the 1987 series was. The 1987 animated series. It's revamped and rebooted. True, some things, like I say, some characters have been switched around. Like Byrne Thompson, April's boss at Channel 6, is now Bernadette Thompson, or Bernadette Thompson, and will be played by Whoopi Goldberg. I think it's okay, so we'll just see what she can do. Maybe they'll bringing Whoopi into that role because, let's face it, Byrne was comedic at times. He was a jerk and all that, but who better to play maybe a comedic bitch, if you will, excuse my language, version of him than maybe Whoopi. And then you got Vern being played by, I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he's being played by a very good comedic actor. A lot of people saying that that's a good choice because who better to play an egotistic Vern, if you will, than this individual. And then of course you got Shredder, whose name's going to change a lot. He's not going to be Japanese, he's going to be English, but apparently it's supposed to, I guess, follow something similar to what's happened before. And then of course you got the elephant in the room that everybody doesn't like to hear, and that you have Megan Fox as April. And I agree, Megan Fox as April is, probably not one of the better choices. There's talk that they wanted to choose other people, other known actresses, and maybe some unknown. Because it's like I said before when I talked about this, and I'm sure Andre, the black nerd, if you will, and anybody else watching this would agree that when you look at April, when you see a live action version of April, you want to see April. You don't want to see, oh, that's so and so playing April. You don't want to see that. You know, it's kind of like the tradition with Superman. Since Christopher Reeve donned the costume in those movies, and even before then, when they did the black and white television show and the serials, and the theatrical serials, anytime they chose the actor to play Superman, what did they do? They made sure it was an actor that was known, but not as widely known as people would think. And thus, when you would see that person, you wouldn't see so-and-so playing Superman, you would see Superman. And that's the same way with April O'Neil's character. When Judith Hogg, if you will, let me show you who I'm talking about. When this lady here played April in the first movie, when she played April, it wasn't people saying, oh, there's Judith Hogg playing April. No, it was, there's April. That's April. And in the following two movies, when she left and Paige Tuco took over, it wasn't like, oh, there's Paige Tuco, playing April. No, it was like, there's April. And it's like even with Ellis Cortez. When they saw him playing Casey Jones in the first and third movie, it's like, oh, there's Ellis Cortez playing Casey Jones. No, it was like, there's Casey Jones. See, that's the thing about these movies. That's the one thing that people complain about with the choice of Megan Fox. It's like, we're not seeing April, we're seeing Megan Fox. We're not seeing April be April, we're seeing Megan Fox as April. It's kind of like when they talked about this, how the casting went for this first Superman movie in 1978 or 79. Richard Donner didn't want a well-known actor like Burt Reynolds or Robert Redford, or Warren Beatty, and go like, or Clint Eastwood, and go like, oh, there's Clint Eastwood, and have people go like, oh, there's Robert Redford playing Superman, or there's Clint Eastwood playing Superman, or there's Warren Beatty playing Superman. No, he wanted an actor that was not well known yet, and that's how he got the late great Christopher Reeve. He got him to play Superman, and he was Superman. Just like the two actors in Superman Returns and in the recent Man of Steel, even though they're known actors, they're not that well known, and that is why when people saw them, they're like, that's Superman. It's not, oh, this is so-and-so playing Superman, that's Superman. The point is, they don't want. The point is, when people hear Megan Fox is going to be April in the movie, they don't like it because it's not because of Megan Fox. Megan's a good actress when she's given the right role, and this might be a good role for her. But still, when they hear Megan Fox, basically they feel that's going to be the distraction. That's going to basically be the distraction from the movie. And it's not going to be a movie about the Ninja Turtles. It's going to be a Megan Fox movie about Megan Fox. And they don't like that. And I can understand that. And I can totally understand that. But when the movie comes out, you got to see how much you're going to see of her to or you judge whether or not it's all about her, if she's going to be the main focus, or it's just going to be kind of like balanced out to the point that you can say, okay, Megan Fox was April, but it was mostly about the Turtles. Anyway, the point is, this year and next year is going to be very interesting. I talked about this in a text, and I talked about this on video as well, and even in audio video in my TMNT discussion when I talked about April. You know, recently I texted this up at one of several of the Sonic forums. I said that what's going on with the redesigns of the Saturday characters, of Sally, Bunny, Antoine, Rotor, you know, and Nicole and others, what's going on with them, excuse me for burping them, but what's going on with them is kind of almost similar in some sense to that's gone on with, you know, TMNT this past year. You know, you take a look at the previous incarnation of the Turtles from 2003 to the 2003 to 2009 series. You take a look at the incarnation that was in 2007, the CGI film. You know, these Aprils that they saw there, even though they weren't the April they knew from the 1980s to from the late 80s to mid 90s original series, it was still an April that they can accept and say, like, yeah, that's April. We can get that individual as April. We can understand that person being April. You know, I mean, they even did an episode where she and Casey kind of posed as a news reporting team, a news crew, and basically the 9 she had put onto her little makeshift uniform or overalls went like this to 6. So that was an paying homage to the original series. But the point is, you know, when they saw April, it wasn't like, oh, that's not April, you know, we can't accept it. No, they accepted it because it was April. And why? Because it was an April that stayed true to the tradition of ever since the beginning of the entire franchise. An adult April that was an ally and friends, and a friend, and a close friend of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, she wasn't a teenager, which is why this April in this 2012 series has gotten so much of a mixed reaction. A lot of it's been positive, but some's been negative, and some have been kind of mixed. You know, the positive was like, yeah, you know, that's great having someone their age. That's great having someone that can understand them now from their status as teenagers and actually showcase them as teenagers, not just ninjas. But then again, you also have the fact that you have on the other side, you have that negative reaction. It's like, you know, you have the fans going like, why did they do this? This was not necessary. You know, this is not April. This is not April. This is a poor attempt at making a teenage April, which doesn't work. And then, of course, you got that mixed reaction, which I'm a part of. And obviously, I've been a part of a lot of mixed reactions to a lot of franchises lately. But you got that mixed reaction where fans look at it and they say, yeah, we may not agree with what they did by turning April into a teenager, but we understand why they did it. It's like we can understand and accept why they did it. I mean, according to numerous reports, it has to do with several reasons, several sources behind it, especially someone, obviously the head of Nickelodeon, one of the head people at Nickelodeon, and obviously one of the parental groups out there or whatever, somebody from a, I guess you could say, motherly standpoint or parental standpoint, it's like, no, you know, nowadays it just doesn't look right for a grown-up April to be associated with teenage turtles who happen to be who are actually just teenage boys, but they're turtles. So we need to change that to where she's a teenager, she can be on their level, she can be on that level of understanding. And again, that's where a lot of the positive comes from. The positive's like, yeah, this is a great move, this is good. You know, it finally gives them someone to communicate, gives them an April that can communicate with them on the same level. Now, some would say that also it is to kind of give the Turtles a bit of a love interest, if you will. In the case of Donatello, gives him a bit of a crush. And again, shows that real life teenage situation coming out of them. Like, here's Donatello, who's a teenage boy, but is a turtle, but he's developed a crush on April, And in a sense, she's developed one on him because she knows that. She knows that. Now, despite the positive, the negatives, and the mixed that this show got, it wasn't just with April either. You know, it's the way they portrayed the Turtles at times. Yes, I will admit I admit the way they portrayed the Turtles at times, they did portray them in a sense that made you want to laugh. They made you laugh. They made you get a kick out of them. But also, when you look at it, you have that mixed reaction from fans that are like, yeah, they make you laugh at times, but this isn't really the Turtles we know. But we understand why they did it. And then again, you get that negative reaction that's like, this isn't the Turtles. This is a joke. This is a parody of the Ninja Turtles. And when I look at all that, and then also you look at how they portray Shredder, how they portray the Krang, Karai, again, just like with April's character in the series, they all got those three-way criticisms. They got a negative criticism, they got a strong positive criticism, and they got a mixed criticism, or a negative reaction. Basically, it's like I'm trying to say, like with April, they got a three-way reaction. You got a negative reaction, you got a very strong positive reaction, and you got a sort of mediocre mixed reaction. But basically, when I look at this entire 2012 series getting that kind of three-way reaction on from all three areas, all three fronts, it makes me think to myself, what is going to happen next year when the movie comes out? Because basically, you're going to have a new generation of kids going to go see this movie. You're going to have a new generation of kids. Hold on for a second. You have a new generation of kids. They're going to go to theaters with their Ninja Turtle figures in hand, maybe. Or they're wearing the Ninja Turtle outfits, t-shirts, or even costumes. Going to go see that movie, probably not paying attention exactly as to what kind of movie it's going to be. And they're going to go in and they're going to see a Turtles movie that's not the Turtles they know right now, that they're being introduced to right now. It's not the Turtles they would know. It's basically, like I said, it would be basically what they'd be watching is a revamp, if you will, a revamp. Trying to check my time there because I got a 29-minute time limit on this thing. But basically, what they'd be seeing is a more older adult version, if reboot, of the 1987 series. That's what they'd be seeing. Basically, that's what they'd be seeing, a reboot and a darker, more mature, aimed for older audiences, reboot of the Ninja Turtles. And you think they're gonna want to sit there and, they'll probably get a kick out of the movie, but then they're gonna come out and they're gonna be like, they're gonna look at their parents and they're gonna be like, that's not the Ninja Turtles I know. That's not what I've seen on Nickelodeon. What's going on? And you see, that's what's going to confuse them. Now, unless the new series is going to tie into the movie somehow, and the second season is going to take place years later, I can understand that, and I'm sure everybody else can. But when you have a franchise as hot as the Ninja Turtles are right now, thanks to this revamp and reboot with the CGI series on Nickelodeon, and then you're going to basically come out with this new movie next year, which is going to be basically nothing like what these kids have seen. You're going to confuse them. I mean, you've got the Out of the Shadows game coming out at the end of this month. That might confuse them even more, even though it's supposed to have elements from all different incarnations. But basically next year what's going to happen is kids are going to go into that theaters with their parents expecting a Ninja Turtles movie that's going to be based on what they've seen on Nickelodeon, and it's going to be totally different, and it's going to surprise them. And you know why? And you know why I can say that? It's because I dealt with it before. In 1990, 23 years ago, me, my sister, my older sister, whose son is a huge Ninja Turtles fan, she took me, I think it was just me, and she took my cousin, and she did this the following year as well, and we went to go see Ninja Turtles in the theaters. We went and saw it, and when I saw it, I loved it, I enjoyed it, but when I first saw it, I'm like, yeah, this is sort of based on the series, but Channel 3, but April's work, the news station's Channel 3, not Channel 6. You see, those are the things that confused me. And then I saw the foot soldiers, and I'm thinking, they're real people. Where's the robots? You know, and it wasn't until maybe a few years later that I realized that it was actually based on not just the 1987 series, but it was also based sort of a mixture. It was basically a mixture of both the 80s cartoon and the original black and white comic strip. That's when I realized there were some elements from both franchises. And once I understood that, I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't know that. I mean, heck, I was, 5 years old, going on 5 years old when they did that. Or when they introduced the Turtles. So to me, it was like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the case with the first movie. I didn't. And I'm sure there's a lot of fans that my age at that time, if not younger, that didn't know about that until a few years later. The point is, there's going to be a lot of kids, young kids, about my nephew's age, if not younger, that are going to go to this movie with their parents, or with their brothers and sisters, or with their cousins. They're going to see it, and they're going to come, and then when they see it, they're going to enjoy it, but what they're going to see is going to go over the top. Some of it may go over the top of their heads, and they're going to come out going like, what was that? That wasn't the Turtles I knew. And then it's going to probably take explanation from the parents, or from whoever they go with, to say, yeah, that's actually a mixture of, that's actually a revamped movie, that's a rebooted movie of what we grew up on. But the positive about it though, hopefully a lot of parents, cousins, relatives, whatever, are trying to educate them on the Ninja Turtle history. And not just say, not just go, oh yeah, the Ninja Turtles you're seeing, yeah, that's the only Ninja Turtles you're ever going to know. No! Hopefully they'll educate them to the point they'll be like, oh, by the way, there was 2 other series before this. There was a comic book based on it. Several comic books. There's a 1980s series that ran for nearly 10 years, for about 10 years, 10 seasons. So yeah, there's more to this show than meets the eye. There's more to this franchise than you think. It's kind of like with Transformers. Everything is being revamped, rebooted, but any other incarnation, even though you stay true to almost a similar origin, has been different from the original. The point is, folks, no matter how you look at it, hopefully kids are being educated. And I know my nephew is going to have to be educated a lot. I mean, he is being educated. He's actually seen some of the classics. His mom's probably sat down and talked to him about it. But the thing is, he's going to have to be educated even more so if he goes to see this movie, because if he's not given a full, thorough education on this when he can be given to it, or being given it, kind of research and do all that, he's going to be totally thrown for a loop. And again, like I said, he's not going to be the only kid out there that's going to be thrown for a loop at his age, if not younger. And like I said, that's the same thing that happened to me and several other longtime fans that went and saw the first live-action movie. You know, we're like, yeah, it looks like it's a live-action adaptation of the cartoon. But then when we started seeing human foot soldiers instead of robotics, we started getting this different kind of a backstory on Splinter. Splinter not being human, but being a rat that was mutated. You know, it's like it just threw us all off. You know, we didn't know what to expect until we pretty much got a better understanding of it years later. And to me, that's exactly what's going to happen with a lot of young kids right now that are into the new 2012 series. So my suggestion for any families out there that are planning to take their kids to go see this, that are into the new series, get your hands on the original cartoon series. Either rent it through Netflix on DVD, either buy it through Amazon or Walmart or wherever, or if you're lucky enough, find possible places where you can download it, or as I discovered, or as I just found out a few hours ago, go to YouTube, type in Ninja Turtles 87 and you can find it there. But get your kids fully integrated into what they're going to probably be in store for next year if you take them to go see this movie. Because if they're only going to be so involved and totally enthralled by what they're seeing by Nickelodeon right now, it's going to throw them off. Because if they see April being portrayed by Megan Fox, they're going to like, that's not teenage April. That's an adult April. They're not going to know. They're not going to know, folks. So to me, this is going to be a very interesting next, how do I put it? The movie's scheduled for spring. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It's going to be a very interesting 7 to 9 months, or 7.5 to 9 months. So my suggestion is try to get those young fans that are enthralled and pretty much only know Ninja Turtles from Nickelodeon. Get them enthralled in what they're about, into that nostalgic past. Because if you don't, they're going to be a little confused. They're going to ask questions, and believe me, from experience as a kid, and you guys know this as well as kids growing up, seeing that live action film in 1990, 23 years ago, you are not going to want to deal with that. Believe me. So that's just my suggestion to a lot of you guys out there. But honestly, it's going to be a very interesting year with everything that's going on with the new series and what's going to happen with the movie. My honest opinion, if you got a lot of young fans, kids growing up with the kids that only know about the Ninja Turtles by Nickelodeon, get them in, educate them, talk to them about the originals, talk about them about all the different incarnations, especially the ones that this movie will probably be based off in some major way. Get them acknowledged onto that, so they can have a better understanding of what they're going to see next year. And hey, if the next 2 seasons of the Nickelodeon series